Alrighty, my friends, I've got the second game here between NaDa and MaNa. This time we are here on Crevasse. Now, we did see MaNa win the last game after NaDa pushed out with a Stim Pack Combat Shield timing push with a handful of SCVs. MaNa, scouting that out, was able to properly defend himself, and really from that point forward, NaDa was too far behind, and without doing any more damage, MaNa was able to work up to some Colossus and just completely roll him over. So yes, this is game number 2. You can see here MaNa spawning in the upper right position of Crevasse, and here in the bottom left, we do have NaDa as our red Terran player. Crevasse, awesome map. It's been touted as one of my favorites, just visually. Again, it just looks so awesome, and it makes me want to play the Diablo 3 beta because it's these trees. I tell you, I've said it before, but these trees, for some reason, remind me of Diablo. Let me know in the comments below if they also remind you of Diablo, or let me know if you don't give a crap. And a lot of people, they're like, I only like Starcraft, or I only like this or that. People are incapable of enjoying more than one thing. It's very, very sad. NaDa starting off with the depot, then following suit with the barracks right now. And yes, there we go. So depot into racks, and let's keep an eye out for that 13 refinery, or it is also quite possible that NaDa may be going for 1 racks into expand, especially this map. Any variation of fast expand build, and I'm going to eat my words right there because NaDa is coming out with a refinery. But this doesn't take away from the fact that any fast expand variant tends to work pretty well on this map, simply because your expansion is tucked away right inside your main. I mean, it is nice and safe. They're really, besides big strong pushes at the front, there's really no danger in losing this because you won't be able to defend it or anything, meaning that since all of your production buildings in your main base, it's quite easy for you to just defend your front, and then your expansion has nothing to worry about. When you have to leave your base for an expansion, then you have to worry about your units actually getting over there and dealing with force fields, preventing you from being able to defend it, and all sorts of things. But anyways, it looks like he will be opening up Reaper. Ooh, okay, so it looks like it will be Reaper into expand, going straight for that tech lab, skipping that early Marine. So it's still a fast expand build. It's still a 1 racks expand, but he's opening up with the Reaper for some scouting and hopefully, fingers crossed, for a little bit of harassment. Chances are he won't be able to kill more than 1 or 2 workers. One big thing that really could be beneficial, though, is if MaNa skips his early Zealot and goes straight into his Sentry, that Reaper will win. And if he kills that's it. I mean, and we actually might see him just open up with the Stalker as a result. So we'll have to keep an eye here on this gateway and see what he ends up doing. So yes, opening up with the Stalker, seeing no Marine and seeing that tech lab, kind of a giveaway as to what's going on. And actually, there we go, trying to prevent that expansion from getting dropped down. You see Protest players do this against Zerg all the time, and trying to be a little bit of a nuisance here for what is he going to go back? There we go. So NaDa is going back now that the probe is out of position. It's going to allow him to drop this, and the Reaper is on the way. Reaper, though, is expected here from MaNa, so shouldn't be doing much damage at all. Stalker freely and boldly chasing that SCV down because he knows even if that Reaper comes through, who really cares? That the Reaper does absolutely nothing to the Stalker. But uh-oh, Stalker doesn't want to chase too far. This is scary right now. We could get a couple of probe kills here. The Stalker chased that SCV way out of the base, and there we go. Reaper scouting out the expansion. So right now, NaDa is aware that that Expo is coming down, and MaNa's going to be moving down to try to engage this little standoff here between the Reaper and the Stalker. Does MaNa have vision of the high ground down here? No, he doesn't, because the Nexus isn't built. So that Reaper could still actually do a little bit of damage. We got a few Marauders coming out, as well as that Stim Pack, and Reaper's not even going to bother taking some shots. And I think, yeah, MaNa's probably just going to chill out here until that Nexus finishes, because once it does, he'll get some more vision. When it's building, you don't get much vision around at all, but he'll get some more vision as soon as that finishes. And there we go. You can see that Reaper harassing right now. Reaper getting 1 shot off on the Stalker and then piecing out of there, realizing not going to stand much of a chance against that. Again, a single Reaper will do nothing to his Stalker. Stalkers just absolutely tear through them. So switching, of course, into Barracks Heavy, we also have an Engineering Bay coming out. Is this going to be for some fast missile turrets in case of DT, or fast upgrades? Fast upgrades it is. Level 1 upgrade coming on through. That command center is up right now, and there's that orbital command as expected. We've got a Robotics Bay coming out over here from MaNa. We'll be getting an Observer first and foremost with that, and here are some 3 gateways turning on into warp gates. A little transfer of some workers here. How many is he bringing? Looks like he's bringing 8 workers, so that's the number. That's the magic number there for MaNa. Bringing out 8 workers, pumping out some sentries over here as well. There's that Reaper Scout still kind of dancing around Stalker, trying to chase him down. That Stalker sitting with that 1 kill, and actually Reaper's got the 1 kill too. I'm obviously assuming that he got a probe. Maybe I did see it, I just don't remember. And it actually needs to be careful though. 3 sentries right there. Reaper just barely getting by. He's gonna spot that Robotics Bay. Not gonna be seeing much else though. And unfortunately, it looks like that Reaper is a goner right now. He should be getting sandwiched right now between these sentries and that Stalker. Although, did he get another kill? Yes, he did, sitting at 3 kills. Number 4. So there we go. Reaper doing as much damage as possible before losing his life. A little bit of a problem here. MaNa not, yeah, there we go. Wasn't rallying his Nexus there to the mineral line. There we go, finally taking care of that though. So yes, Marine Marauder heavy. We do have that star part coming on through. We should be seeing, there we go, should be seeing a reactor on that factory to make that hot swap possible once that does finish. Now we may be seeing another timing push here because he went for level 1 upgrades relatively early on, so this might be another timing push here from NaDa. NaDa sitting on a momentary supply block. That has just been alleviated though, so that stim pack just finished, level 1 upgrade just about to finish as well. Let's see if NaDa does decide to move out. A little bit concerned. I'm assuming he's not going to because he's coming out with this bunker. A bunker obviously always meaning that's a defensive measure. You want to protect yourself for a certain period of time. This is nothing that'll stay here indefinitely most likely, but just a temporary kind of fix here. We have a missile turret coming on through, and that's going to allow him to deal with any possible DT, but more likely to deal with this observer walking through his main base. So once this pops, the observer does need to be careful, and there we go, MaNa spotting that, but at the same time, NaDa is aware that that observer's in the base, so he'll be moving on over and trying to get within range to drop a scan. Doesn't look like he'll make it though. MaNa should be pulling out of there just in time with that observer. Not a problem whatsoever. No missile turret in that resource line over here. Again, just trying to worry about that front, just in case some DT try to sneak themselves in. We have combat shield coming out, and there's that level 1 armor upgrade. So didn't go for that timing push with the level 1 weapons upgrade, just was trying to get it up early and then work his way into armor. We do have MaNa working his way into a 3rd expansion right now. A couple units here, 2 Stalkers and a Sentry defending that natural expansion, or that in-base expansion there from MaNa. We do have Charge Zealots coming on through, and is he getting a Templar Archives as well? No, we've got a Forge coming through. Now that Forge, of course, going to allow him to get those upgrades, and there's that Templar Archives, just as I mentioned that. The reason I kind of predicted that is because a lot of times you will see Charge Zealots in conjunction with High Templar laying down some storms, plus those Charge Zealots. That can just be a devastating combination. Now to moving out with that Factory Scout, he will of course be checking these expansions. He wants to see where and if MaNa has expanded, so that's the main purpose of that factory. And as mentioned last game, you really don't need it if you're going bio plus, you know, Medevac Viking and possibly throwing in some Ghosts as well. We've got 2 Medevac getting ready to drop here in that in-base expansion, taking a couple shots from that Stalkers though, from those Stalkers, and then being forced to push back, not even going to bother to try that for fear of losing a Medevac filled with units. That's a pretty devastating proposition indeed. Observer Scout moving over, trying to spot the army. Didn't end up catching them, though. Does he have the Xel'Naga? Okay, he's got this Xel'Naga over here, so he's able to see the positioning here of the bio army for NaDa. That's going to delay him, and actually, he hasn't moved into this expansion. I expected him to because this probe was sitting here, but it looks like instead it is a sacrificial probe. Getting that free kill there, NaDa, why not just take it, you know what I mean? Probe Scout moving on over, actually on patrol over here. He himself is checking around for possible NaDa expansions, and there goes that Factory Scout continuing to move on through, and there the High Templar, the Psionic Storm just about finished. Feedback's going down on those Medevacs, preventing any healing being done from those 2, and also doing quite a bit of damage. You can look at how low those 2 Medevacs are. Not the biggest deal for NaDa though. Obviously losing that energy sucks, but he's going to be getting that back, and it doesn't really need to worry about repairing those. You don't see those repairs go down very, very often on those Medevacs, every so often, but it's not the most popular thing. And moving forward, MaNa trying to deal with this factory, leaving his third expansion a little bit vulnerable to this bio army down here. And let's see if he tries to force that cancel. We've got a few more bio units over here, Marines and Marauders, trying to make sure he's got control of that tower as well. Actually sitting at both towers here with his Marines. The Observer Scout for MaNa scouting out and realizing precisely what's going on for NaDa. Checking back in NaDa's main base, sticking up with that bio production. He does have a Ghost Academy working up into an armory as well, and trying to work his way into his 3rd. So far, in all honesty, game's been a little boring, just not a lot, kind of dancing back and forth between the players. Not a lot of action so far. Hopefully see a little more. Macro games are awesome, but I love it when there's constant action to coincide with the heavy macro going on. Now we do have MaNa dropping a proxy pylon. This is for all intents and purposes, this is kind of going to be used for late game harass. Warping in a zealot or 2 if he spots an expansion over here can do a tremendous amount of damage, especially when the bulk of NaDa's army is in a different position than wherever he's trying to drop that expansion. If he's moving down to defend it, then this becomes a little less effective, but it can certainly be very effective. Especially late game, you see a lot of mid to late game transitions, just throwing in a Dark Shrine, getting some Dark Templar out to try to do a little bit of harass, and again, this proxy pylon would come into play in that situation as well. Working his way up right now, level 2 weapons and armor upgrade, churning out that bio, getting a few missile turrets over here at these expansions to deal with observers and as well as those DT. Scan going out, spotting the bulk of the army, realizing he is zealot heavy. He's going to expect that charge upgrade. Really no other reason he'd be so zealot heavy and not have any Colossus or anything like that. So the High Templar, he's expecting those charge zealots, and that is in fact what's going on. We have those charge zealots, those High Templar sitting on quite a bit of energy. Charge zealots swooping forward, taking out these destructible rocks, trying to open up another avenue and possibly try to work into further expansions. Looks like he will likely be kind of moving his way on over to this half of the map in terms of expansions. Trying to be able to defend himself. They get basically like a nice concave and have your units sit in the middle so you can respond accordingly to whatever base is under distress. But we, as mentioned prior, we don't really have a lot going on. Both NaDa and MaNa just working their way up, working up their macro. We do have a Robotics Bay coming on through, so yes, MaNa will be working into Colossus. We'll be getting a healthy mix of Colossus as well as those High Templar. We do have that Ghost Academy, and here we go, moving out with that Mobius Reactor. How many Ghosts do we have in play right now? Just sitting with the 3, and that's about standard. You usually see, I would say, between 3 and 6. You don't really see much more than that. Definitely nowhere near 8. 8 to 10, you really don't see that many Ghosts in most cases, just because it's so much. It's such a heavy investment. Dropping those EMPs and those snipes are obviously very clutch and very important, but also having a strong bio army is equally as important. So yeah, I expect him to sit anywhere between 4 and 6. The 10 mark, just not as common. It happens, but it's just not as common. We have MaNa trying to come out with an expansion over here, and there is a Marine Scout over here for NaDa. He's not aware of that yet. I wish he would actually go on patrol. Dropping a scan, taking out an observer. High Templar storming down on some of that bio, taking quite a bit of damage, but those medevacs there sitting with a lot of energy, able to heal us up pretty quickly. Big concern for those medevacs are going to be additional feedbacks from those High Templar. We do have a few High Templar. Oh, there we go. Feedback going down to the Ghost. Very nice snipe. And then dropping a Storm as well. And the High Templar still alive, managing to survive that entire engagement, doing quite a bit of damage and dropping that feedback there. Pushing from the opposite side, though, with that bio, trying to distract, and he got a big EMP. Oh, boy, look at that. Those EMPs doing so much damage. There's pretty much no shields for most of those Stalkers and a few of those Zealots as well. Now stimming up and chasing down that army and trying to do as much damage as possible while those shields have been dissipated. We have got one Colossus in play. There's some Storm as well as Force Fields, and that's not looking good for the bio. The charged Zealots chopping up everything within that half of the Force Fields. Colossus trampling over those Force Fields in hot pursuit of the rest of this bio, and there's not a lot of bio left here for NaDa. He does have some reinforcements, though. Couple of Ghosts in the mix as well. Now sitting on the 2. He does have enough for an EMP. This is a very strong and very scary push, though, from MaNa. So many charged Zealots, plus that one Colossus. The Thermal Lance just finishing right now, giving that extra range there for that Colossus. Blink Stalkers pushing forward, taking that EMP to the face, and then forced to push back. MaNa, possibly concerned about additional EMPs, will be retreating right now. Not something that he really wants to deal with. He can take a look at his army. There's at least about a third of his army is without shields, and that's, again, not a good situation. Certainly not where you want to be. And blinking down, we'll be taking this free factory kill here. Looks like NaDa finally has worked his bio back up. We're getting a few Vikings working on the level 3 weapons upgrade. We've got that expansion getting nice and saturated right now, dropping those 2 additional refineries, allowing him to afford any further Ghost, Medevacs, and Vikings, all of course being so Vespian heavy. We have got the level 3 weapons upgrade coming out here from MaNa as well. So both Terran and Protoss players working their way up to the level 3. NaDa trying to get this expansion, though. Looks like he'll be forced to cancel that. MaNa just in the perfect position, swooping up, and ooh, I'm not sure if that got canceled or not. I think he may have actually lost those resources there, unfortunately. But yes, both players just keeping up production. It is absolutely thrilling for there to finally be some action going on. And again, we are seeing MaNa just dance around. Now, what we're going to see constantly is both players try to get back control of those towers because they do want to know what's going on. So we're going to see a Marine or Marauder chilling out at this tower. And the same thing will be taking place over here. Again, you really want a good idea. Now, NaDa has, of course, that advantage of scans. And MaNa has the advantage of being able to pull forward with some observers. Those observers, sacrificing those, a little bit scary, especially given the scans, plus those EMPs. Will both decloak those and give free kills to NaDa. Blink Stalkers will be taking advantage of their mobility, getting some free kills over there, dropping that one Marine, and this is, again, kind of a frustrating situation here for NaDa. NaDa with vision of the high ground, though, from the Vikings and Medevacs pushing forward to those Stalkers. Big storms going down. Vikings move forward to try to get rid of those Colossus. And oh boy, Stim going down, trying to stick away, doing a good job of actually staying away from those Zealots and tearing through the Zealots. Will be working his way through the rest. There are no more Colossus as well. That was a very, very nice engagement for NaDa. I think things may start to be looking in his favor. Yes, he is slightly ahead right now. He was behind prior to that engagement, but that works very, very nicely. We just saw a nice spread from NaDa and was able to tear through that Zealot army and then work his way onto kind of those more threatening units, get rid of that big, big meat shield there. So yes, we'll be dancing around. We do still have a few ghosts. They will want to be taking the lead to drop some EMPs, and there they are, EMPs right on the main army. There was one storm that went down, didn't do too much damage. Another EMP, getting that High Templar as well, and here's the Stim, and MaNa is a little bit concerned right now. He's got another High Templar dropping a storm right on top of all of that bio. Charge Zealots trying to swoop on up. Marauders will be microing back right now. Move, shoot, pulling back. The Stim pack, has dissipated, and that's making those Blink Stalkers push forward, given the fact that we did see that additional Stim pack there. These Marauders are very, very low right now. Some nice feedbacks there as well. And look at this constant tug of war here, back and forth between these two players. First, NaDa pushed MaNa back, and now it is flipped right on its head there. MaNa pushing NaDa all the way back to his expansion over here. It looks like NaDa will be trying to get a planetary fortress to try to help defend against this. He does have 4 bases up in terms of actual mining, about 2.5 bases worth of mining. He's got these 2 plus this one over here. Now, what do we have over here? Nice saturation there, and wow, actually only about 2.5 bases worth of mining over here for MaNa as well. So they're sitting at about equal right now in terms of mining bases, and lost that unfortunately. Scan going down as well. Checking that army. We do have that 1 Colossus. And what else do we have over here? 12 High Templar. Are they all here? There's no way. There's only 3 High Templar here. Where are the rest? There we go. So lots and lots of High Templar here for MaNa. And there's going to be some insane blanket storms in the not too distant future. NaDa, we're seeing pretty much what we expect from him. Marines, Marauders, Ghosts, Vikings, and Medivacs, and that's it, man. That's how you TvP right there. It's just the most efficient way. Mech is a little scary, a little immobile, and especially once Colossus are in play, becomes a lot less effective. And we're actually going to see MaNa try to hit from this direction, given the fact that NaDa's army is positioned over there, and I don't know if we're going to see a base trade or if NaDa's going to turn around. Looks like he is deciding to turn around right now. Now, what this is going to do is MaNa has a little bit of time to do some damage before the army gets over here, trying to force those units back by dropping that storm, and he did force a liftoff there, and that's kind of a problem for NaDa because he was mining from that. Even though it wasn't a ton of resources available, he was still getting some mining done. EMP dropping on that High Templar. High Templar did manage to get one manage to get 1 storm down, a couple more storms going down on the bio. Vikings sniping down the Colossus there, and this isn't looking good for MaNa. There's way too much bio here for him to deal with. He will be losing the rest of this. Very nice play again by NaDa, but whoa, look at all the Zealots coming out of the woodwork. Although still not enough. The DPS here will be way too much. Also dropping down with those Vikings, given the fact that there's no more Colossus. The Vikings sacrificing their lives just to try to get rid of those Zealots a little bit sooner. We do want to see NaDa land this expansion, take advantage of all that energy, drop some mules, and save some scans possibly as well. We'll be transferring a few more SCVs back. I do really want to see him get another expansion. If he can try to possibly move into this position, we know he had tried to, or maybe even moving back here, although look at those Zealots prepared to deal with any SCVs that attempt to work their way on over there to drop that expansion. So again, been pretty intense. We spent a good portion of the early game just kind of with macro up from both players, but this later half of the game is looking to be pretty intense indeed. We are seeing MaNa continue to push out, and again, it's just been a constant back and forth tug of war between these players, actually lifting off that in-base expansion. We'll be trying to drop that over here. Unfortunately, he's walking right into some Blink Stalkers and Archons, and this is a problem. Is he going to try to feedback? Actually, that'd be really funny. I don't know if you can. That'd be really cool if you could feedback. I know you can EMP, at least you used to be able to EMP the energy off of buildings, so that'd be pretty cool if you could feedback as well. But anyways, NaDa does have this base burning, and actually that's a problem. He needs to really do something about that. Marauders dropping down, trying to do some damage. They were actually trying to snipe down that Nexus, but the warp in, oh boy, the warp in of some Zealots, that High Templar as well as that Stalker will force that back right now, and we are seeing MaNa push back, but keep in mind he did manage to stop this base from landing and actually got it burning, and NaDa, I don't know what he's doing right now, but he's not paying attention to what he should be. He needs to repair that, otherwise that's a big heavy loss. So hopefully we see him drop this down. There we go, drop it down, get that repair going. Here comes a push down, storm going down on all of that bio, another storm. That is not good for NaDa, taking massive amounts of damage. Storms going over all of those SCVs. And my gosh, Psystorm just wrecked NaDa's day. He took so much damage to his bio army and lost all those SCVs to some properly placed storms. Very, very impressive play there by MaNa, and MaNa still with the storms. He's got so much energy left and just tearing through NaDa's army. Now, these Marauders are obviously very durable, and they will be sniping down these two Colossus unbelievably, but I don't really think, I don't know, that was pretty rough there for NaDa. NaDa took some pretty heavy losses. I mean, yes, it looks like he may be able to push back this attack from MaNa, but he lost that expansion. He lost all of those SCVs, and that's just devastating. Taking a look here, yes, you can see NaDa very, very far behind right now, and he's got a long way to go if he wants to get back in this game. Look at all those mules. Holy hell, though. Doing what he can to try to stay on top of his income. That's a lot of mules, and actually not his income right now because of all those mules, surpassing MaNa's, even given the fact that he had lost so many units there. Get a couple more High Templar moving down, and again, just dropping those blanket storms and doing as much damage as he can, and some more storms. Oh boy, that was pretty devastating. Blinking back with those Stalkers, moving forward with those Shard Zealots. NaDa not looking to have a lot of army right now. Yes, 27 army supplies as opposed to the 112 of MaNa. That's pretty much game, guys. There's not any really more mining going on. MaNa just pulling ahead right now, getting out that expansion, getting rid of that expansion, and forcing the GG. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. That does it here. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this commentary. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.